Hey everyone, it's Barry, and for today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be checking out my 20-gallon saltwater aquarium that is behind me, so roll the intro. Alright, so here is the tank. As you can see, it is super simple, a super simple setup, nothing special or super complicated about it. It's a 20-gallon long aquarium. I got the aquarium at the $1 per gallon sale at Petco for $20. And a little bit of history behind this tank. This tank actually used to be a freshwater planted tank before I made it into a saltwater tank. So for around 2 years, it was a freshwater aquarium. 2 months ago, I made the best decision of my life and turned it into a saltwater tank. So that's just a little bit of history behind the tank. It is super easy maintenance. I do a water change on this tank every 2 weeks exactly. One of the only problems that I have in this tank is this surface scum that just gets on the top. So I might need to get a skimmer to take all of this out. This is around 2 weeks of buildup. You can see what the water is supposed to look like. And this is what it looks like with all the oils. It doesn't seem to be hurting anything, but it is reflecting the light a little bit. Every time I do a water change, I scoop all of this out. But enough with that, let's get into what is in the tank. So I currently have 2 clownfish, one from Petco and one from Live Aquaria. This orange one right here is named Zed, and the black one is named Scott. Now I'm 90% sure that Scott is the female and Zed is the male, just because Scott is a little bit bigger and has been quite a bit more aggressive towards Zed, and that's what females do. They're a little bit more aggressive towards the males. I got Zed about a week after I set up the tank, and he's doing pretty good. He was the first fish that I put in here, and Scott was the second fish that I put in here. I put him in around 2 or 3 weeks in. What I feed my clownfish are some Omega-1 marine mini pellets, and also once a week I do put some mysis shrimp in there for them to eat, and some of the corals do eat some of the mysis shrimp that is left over and floating in the tank. I also have a sea urchin. You can see him kind of pinned back there behind the power head. Here's a better view. I don't know why he's back there right now. This sea urchin back there is named Bob. He does a good job cleaning up the tank, eating some algae. He's super cool. Also have an Astrea snail and Nassarius snail in here. Both of them, I'm not sure where they are. They're probably just hiding. The Nassarius snail is probably in the substrate because they like to live in the substrate. But that is it for all of the live fish and invertebrates in here. Just 2 fish and a sea urchin. Now I am planning on adding an orchid dotty back or some type of dotty back in here along with a cleaner shrimp, and that'll probably max out the tank. So that'll be all the fish and invertebrates that I'll put in here. But until then, we just have the 2 little clownfish and sea urchin and 2 snails. So for the corals, I have some green star polyps right there. They're really colorful, nice neon green, and they're probably the fastest growing coral that I've had. They're just taking off on that little frag plug. Next, I have this leather coral that I got. This was kind of an impulse buy. I just saw it at the fish store and I knew that it'd be pretty easy to keep, and I got it, and it is well worth it. It looks pretty cool, and it's probably one of the biggest corals in this tank. Takes up a lot of room. Then we move down, and this is some pulsing xenia. I got this at Petco. Usually Petco doesn't really sell corals, but they happen to have this, and this was the very first coral that I put in the tank. I put this coral in when I got Zed right there, and it has grown quite a bit. It's really expanded. I made a video putting this coral and Zed into the tank, so I'll leave a link in the description for that. I also did make a video setting up this aquarium, so I'll also leave a link for that in the description. Moving to the left, I have some zoanthids. These are probably my favorite coral. Super cool neon color. They're really awesome. They've actually started to grow some new polyps on the underside. Then to the left of it, I have this green spotted mushroom. It's actually just recently made a new baby mushroom right in the center of the screen to the left of the big mushroom. Now, what's super cool about these mushroom corals is periodically they move. So this mushroom coral used to be a little bit more to the left, and it just recently moved over to the right, and it left a little piece of itself on the left, which will become the new mushroom coral. Then, probably the least exciting coral in here that looks really ugly is this candy cane coral. It does look a lot better than when I got it. It's a lot more puffed up and expanded, but it still doesn't look that cool. Plus the sea urchin keeps knocking it over. Usually it's standing up. So that is all I have for corals. Not a big variety in here, just a bunch of soft, easy corals. I am definitely gonna get some more corals the next time I go to the pet store. I'm gonna stick with soft corals because they're really easy to keep and don't require a lot of care. So yeah, that pretty much sums up everything that is in the tank worth talking about. The rock that I have in the tank I got from Bulk Reef Supply. I think I got around 12 or 13 pounds. It's the perfect amount for in this tank, and I made a little arch, which is really cool. And everything else besides the tank itself, I did just buy on Amazon. So the sand is some type of Carib sea sand. I think it might be Fiji pink. Got it off of Amazon. As well as the light. This is the Current Marine USA Orbit light or something like that. It's actually a really cheap light for growing corals. It was around $70. I think I got the 28-inch one. It comes with this little display right here and a remote. Then I have an AquaClear 30 filter, which does the job perfectly fine. I'm running some carbon in there, which takes out some of the impurities in the water. Then inside the tank, I have a cheap power head. I think it's a Sun power head from Amazon. I actually got this around 3 years ago and just never really used it for anything. So put it in here and it's working just fine. There's plenty of flow in the tank. And then an Aquarium 100-watt heater. That heater is literally the 4th one that I've put in here. All the ones I got off Amazon were just broken, so I had to send them back. But finally, I got a new heater that is working just fine. Now let's talk about maintenance for this tank. Maintenance is really easy. Like I said, I do a water change every 2 weeks. I change about 4 gallons of water. For the water in the tank, I am using Walmart distilled water. It's like 80 cents for a gallon. And for the salt that I'm using in this tank, I'm using some Fritz RPM salt. I scrub off all the algae on the glass and some of the cyanobacteria that's on the rock. You can't really see any of it right now. I think Bob the sea urchin just ate some of it, so that's good. But usually I do have to scrub some cyanobacteria from the rocks. And I scoop out all of this oil slick stuff from the surface of the water. I also have this custom plexiglass lid. It's a little bit warped, but it really helps with evaporation. So I only have to top off this tank maybe once every 2 weeks, which is really awesome and really helpful. I am so glad that I decided to keep a saltwater tank. I was really discouraged from keeping a saltwater tank because everyone on YouTube said that it'd be super hard. I just don't think that's really true. As long as you make sure that your tank is cycled and don't just stock a whole bunch of fish in it as soon as possible, I think that it should work out pretty well. I think that pretty much sums up the tank for you guys. I hope you guys like it. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. New viewers, if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and check out some of my other content and consider subscribing. And like always, make sure you like this video and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys on the next video.